Hi, welcome to Petradots, and in this lesson we are going to be learning recursion. Recursion is a technique in Java or in programming that is used to make a method to call itself. The importance of recursion is it helps you to break a complex problem into a smaller unit that will be easier to solve. Let's say, for example, you want to sum a number, sum the numbers within a particular range, say 1 to 5, right? Summing two numbers is easy to do, but to sum a long, let's say a range of numbers between from 1 to 10 is more difficult, right? So, and to do that, let's do it with a practical. We create a method, public static void sum numbers, right? So the numbers we are solving is going to be from a particular range, right, to another range. But before we go ahead, in recursion, it has two parts. The first is the base case, and the second is the recursion case. So what does the base case do? The base case is used to halt a method, the recursive method, so that it don't turn infinite, meaning the method call never ends. So you need to have the base case. The base case is used to stop or halt the repetition, whereas the recursive case is the case where you actually recall the method again to perform the action, right? So let us just define the recursive case, where we have if bracket open that this n that was passed here is greater than 0, right? Because we are only summing numbers that are not 0 or less than 0. We are summing from 1 to 10. So if n is greater than 0, what do we do? We'll now say that we should return n plus what? It's supposed to be n plus n minus 1, right? But it is not just one number. It is a range of numbers that is from 1 to 10, right? So what do we need to do? We just need to call this method again by saying sum numbers n minus 1. This is what we call the recursive case. Let me write it here. The recursive case. Then we have the base case. Just like we said, the base case is used to end the recalling of the loop, right? So what do we do? Else, you put an else statement, return 0, and that's it. So if n is greater than 0 is the only condition where this method will call itself. That is where the recursive case comes in. But if it is not greater than 0, just return 0 for us. Then that will return the full sum. So let us print this out to this output and see what is going to happen. System.out.println sum numbers. You can pass anything you want, but we are testing with 10, right? So let's run this program and see. You see we are having 55 as an answer. All right, so let's try another example. Remember that when you want to calculate a factorial of a particular number, that is 5 factorial, how do you calculate it? It is done this way, which is 5 times 5 minus 1, 4, times 4 minus 1, 3, times 3 minus 1 will give you 2, times 2 minus 1 will give you 1. So this is the thing that will give us the answer to factorial 5. So let's say now we're going to calculate that factorial here, right? So let's take this. Let me take this thing below, which is this one should be sum numbers in a range. So the second example we're going to test is to calculate factorial. Calculate factorial of a number, where you have this. We are going to test with 5. Example, so e.g. So let's create the method, and the method says what? Which is public static int get, or just call it calculate factorial. So, and we are going to pass the number we want to calculate the factorial for, which is n, for example. Then inside our bracket, we can now start. So let's define our base. Our base is if n is equal to 0 or n is equal to 1, what do you do? Just return 1 for us. That's all. Else, what do you do? Return calculate factorial. But then return n times calculate factorial, which is n minus 1. So this calculate factorial will repeat calling this method. Right? It will repeat calling this method. Sorry, I think I changed something. So let me just update it. Alright. So let's print it out now here and see. System.out.println calculate, or this smaller letter, sorry, calculate factorial, and we are going to be doing factorial of 5, right? So let's see whether we are going to get the correct answer. So run this program and see. You can see we are having 120. So this is exactly how recursion works. So to recap, recursion is a technique in Java or in programming that is used to make a method to call itself, right? It helps to break down a complex problem into a smaller units that will be easy to solve, and that is exactly what was happening here in recursion. So factorial, because normally if I was to do this, I might go ahead and start using loop to loop through each of the items, or probably taking the number, breaking it, and storing it in an array, which might not be ideal, right? But creating a recursive method will help you to solve that problem, which is if n is still not equals to 0 or not equals to 1, all you need to do is keep calculating the factorial, keep recalling this method as a recursive method. So just keep recalling it, and it will continue until n is equal to 0 or n is equals to 1. All right, I know it might be a bit difficult to understand, but if you try it on your own end, you get it clearer. Then if you have any question or confusion, I'll be standby on the comment section. Just drop your question there and you get an answer. So don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you.